Hello class, and welcome to my Week 8 video assignment for telling the story of post-war America. As I went through and reflected on this week's reading assignments, one comment really stood out, and it was the chapter on Wendell Berry's Defense of a Truly Free Market by Mark Mitchell. He has a section on the ideal of competition, and in the section he quotes Wendell Berry concerning competition in a market economy. Berry states, "There is no denying that competitiveness is a part of life both of an individual and of a community, or that, within limits, it is a useful and necessary part. But it is equally obvious that no individual can lead a good or a satisfying life under the rule of competition, and that no community can succeed except by limiting somehow the competitiveness of its members." I reflected on those words a little bit, and I'm still struggling a bit. I'm not sure I agree with him. I'm in the consulting business with IBM, and it is all about competition, and I'm used to building high-performing teams that thrive on competition. Regardless, my thoughts went to one of my favorite entrepreneurs, Lee Iacocca, and I spent a little bit of time going back to his time at Ford and the achievement of the Ford Mustang and some of his words concerning competition. Iacocca was very competitive and known as one of the most hard-nosed executives during his time at Ford. Iacocca had traits that were valued at Ford. For example, the people that could meet his requirements liked working for him because he would move quickly and would support their positions. The news people loved him because he would take as long as needed to answer the questions on the auto industry and even about Ford's problems. He was quick to point out his own mistakes. In 2014, he gave an interview to reflect on the 50th year anniversary of the Mustang. He talked a little bit about the difficulty in getting approval because Henry Ford II had just dealt with a large loss. It was one of the biggest in Ford history with the Edsel. It had been dumped a year earlier at a loss of $250 million. So Ford was not receptive to launching a new unproven line of cars, which would present further risk to the company. Iacocca ended up making a number of trips to his office before he gained approval to build it, and Ford told him if it wasn't a success that Iacocca might be looking for a new job elsewhere. So he was also asked how he was able to get the program's finances to work. The interesting thing was Ford gave Iacocca $45 million to develop and build the car, which was unheard of at that time, to design and push a new car line through to production. But they did it. And in the first 18 months, the Mustang was in the marketplace. They sold 1 million cars. It was the best-selling Ford since the Model T in the 1920s. He also pointed out that dealers initially reacted very well to the car. They loved it from the start. They had people knocking down the doors on introduction day, and they sold 22,000 Mustangs on the opening day. And the dealers couldn't keep enough cars in stock to satisfy the demand. So their initial marketing plan worked well. And he turned in the interview to the key elements of the vehicle's design and performance characteristics. So when you think from a competition perspective, they gave Detroit something they didn't have in 1964, which was the 4-seat sporty car with European styling. And it wasn't until 1967 that GM or Chrysler could get a car to the market to compete with Mustang. They also obviously went after pricing, and he talked a little bit about how pricing was set. They set several goals at the beginning of the development program. And this was ingenious. The car had to weigh less than 2,500 pounds and retail for under $2,500. They remained true to that goal by offering a very basic car, but they also had an a la carte line of accessories. And the accessory market is where they maximize their profit on each sale. He also went into the plan for the launch of the car, which happened at the World's Fair in 1964. And they first set their goals for the program. They wanted to get the car out to the market before any of the competition again. It was an ambitious goal. They did it from start to finish in 18 months, which again was an unheard of short time span. And the reason they went for the World's Fair was that Iacocca felt that if he could introduce a new car line mid-model year, as a 1964 and a half model, he would have the advantage of introducing a new car to a captive audience. At that time, the World Fair was a really big deal. So in closing, I would like to thank everyone for taking time to watch my video, and I wish everyone a great week. Thank you for your time.